And we are back with another check-in. I weighed 86.6 this morning. This is a 600 grams, so more than half a kilo increase from last week. I can't tell you how happy I was to see that. A bit strange, I know, right? But this is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And I said this last week, but we're obviously even heavier this week. Gotta admit, it's never been this easy for me to gain weight, which on one end is great because that's what I'm aiming for right now. On the other end, I am wondering, I am not eating an awful lot of calories just yet. So this potentially means that I'm still filling out and I'm still not quite as full as I could be, considering that body composition is not really regressing. Like I'm not really putting a lot of body fat on. I can tell that my legs are definitely more inflamed. That's usually what happens the moment that I put a bit more body fat on. I lose all definition from my legs. This might also be the increase of the volume in the training though, even though this week wasn't great, the leg session. I was actually quite gutted about that. But without going on the tantrum, let's have a look at the footage of my morning check-in on empty stomach and then we'll comment it together. Okay, so this was the first full week of the new training split and a new training program. If you're new to the channel, I recently changed my training block, but not just that, also the type of training, the style of training that I'm doing at the moment. I'm taking just a very few sets to absolute failure, which is quite new to me. I'm doing a lot more volume, but I'm training with more reps in reserve. So far, I've been loving it. I completely forgot what it was like to train with a higher volume. It's true the sessions tend to drag a little bit, especially the final two sessions of the week. More so the final one really. But generally, this is a training method that I used to do in the past in my first few years of serious lifting. I was training with a lot more volume with a training program that was quite similar to this. I was probably doing more intensifiers at the time on top of doing a lot more volume. I'm doing definitely more straight sets now, but this is purely because over time you learn how to optimize the single sets and you don't really need as many intensifiers, not all the time, to actually generate intensity with the single sets. But I remember at the time I responded really well to it. I always doubted it was due to the method and I thought it was mostly just due to the fact that I was kind of new to lifting and at the time I only just started taking things more seriously with my training and my nutrition as well. Rationally, after years of studying and experimenting with myself and obviously training hundreds of clients, there are things that I know objectively about high volume training and what it does to our body, and there's a lot of advantages from doing that, especially if you're kind of a newbie or if, let's say, you don't necessarily want the pressure of having to consistently hit new PRs and updating your logbook and relying on training intensity and mindset to really drive your results forward. And we also know that at the back of doing more volume, it's easier to reach saturation and a higher state of inflammation. And so I was expecting to look more pumped, especially at the back of pushing the calories up. But I thought I would have struggled mentally with it because it's such a difference compared to what I was used to, which is very low volume, very high intensity. But I gotta say, the general vibe of the workouts is really taking me back to my first years of lifting, and I'm really enjoying it. I've been really resistant to this change for a while, even though it's been at the back of my mind, and I just decided to take the leap, and so far it's definitely been a great choice. Just a bit gutted about the leg session this week, which was absolutely awful. Definitely the worst session that I had in a long while. But I'm conscious that it was the case because of lack of preparation, physical and mental. And I know that I've got the opportunity to redeem myself this week. Funny enough, Wednesday, which is my next leg day, is going to be another very stressful day because the little one here, Euclid, my cat, is having his operation. So I don't entirely know what the day is going to be like, etc. But hopefully I'll be able to have at least a couple of hours, 2.5 hours to dedicate to my training properly. We'll see. Nonetheless, having one leg day, so one lower day, is the only day during the week where I train my lower body to any capacity. It's putting quite a lot of pressure on performing well and having a good session. The point of having one single leg workout was to really use the majority of my recovery capacity to grow my upper body. I've always been bottom heavy, as you can probably see from the check-in, so I decided to really prioritize my upper body for this training block. So let's talk about that, because we're seeing a nice difference in certain muscle groups. First one being my delts. Again, I don't think this is necessarily so much because of, you know, the training program. I think it's purely just down to the fact that I can do a lot more stuff now because the shoulder is almost fully recovered. I can even overhead press now. Wow. Obviously light, can't really overload, can't really do anything free weights just yet, but I'm just happy to be able to do even just like a silly little overhead shoulder press machine. So I think it's mostly down to that and just being able to do more volume with it, more exercises, more intensity, and so they are responding quite well. I still don't think they are as big as they were kind of halfway through last year before I got injured, but it could also be the case that everything else grown a bit more, and so they needed just a bit more time to catch up. So we'll see how things develop in the next few weeks, and we'll keep monitoring stuff. Also, my back, I know for a fact I've always been well behind when it comes to my front shots. But my rear shots always allowed me to win shows back when I was competing, and generally it's always been my strongest pose, the back double bicep. Obviously leave aside that I can't pose for shit at the moment, but generally always connected well with my lats, with my traps, never really had any issues developing my back. I'm not saying that I've been neglecting it, but I've definitely been focusing more on some other muscle groups. But now that I'm training it in multi-frequency again with a substantial increase of the training volume, it's crazy. It's literally, you know, flipped upside down in a matter of 2 weeks. Almost looks double the size, which is obviously quite nice to see. I am aware of the fact that I trained back the day before doing the check-in, which you might think is not really influential, but I've always noticed a bit of difference, you know. If I take pictures or if I do the check-in the day after I train a specific muscle group, that muscle group will always have more of an enhanced look in the video itself. So I'm conscious that it might be also due to that. But the main focus of this training block are my arms, specifically my triceps, my chest, which has always been my weak point given the structure of my rib cage. So that's what I'm focusing the most at the moment, as well as obviously bringing my delts back to life. It's a bit early to say whether we really need to change anything, but for the moment, we'll just carry on pushing. Nutrition is working much better as well. I'm really conscious of the direction of things at the moment. I think, as I highlighted in previous videos, this is the first time in quite a few months that I'm actually directing my journey a bit more specifically and deciding where I want to go and push in a certain direction. And so right now what we want to do is increase body weight, and at the back of that we increase the calories, and we are pushing that forward. I definitely don't feel like I'm stuffing my face. Definitely doesn't feel overly hard to consume all the calories. It quite simply requires a bit of organization and a bit of prepping, which not the best at, I'll admit, but I am definitely improving, and the results in the check-ins definitely show. So yeah, overall, it's been a good week. I'm really looking forward to starting all over again tomorrow. I'm planning a trip to Italy the following week, so after next week, I might take you guys. I have to take you guys with me on my trip. So you'll probably be seeing me working out in different gyms, and yeah, that's going to be an interesting experience, trying to film my workout in a foreign country. So we'll see how that goes. Which by the way, is my mother country. I was born in Italy. I'm Italian, in fact. I moved here to London, to England, about 11 years ago. So I'll just be going back to Rome, which is where I was born, to visit my family, and to also not necessarily take a break, because I'll still be working and still be filming the same as usual, but just to look at things from a different perspective. This is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the continuous support. This is another week down. I've been doing YouTube now for about 6 weeks every single day, and I couldn't be any happier with how many of you are watching and supporting and spreading the word. So that is very much appreciated, and I hope you feel the love and the energy coming from my end. So if it's your first time here, I'm posting one video a day for a year straight. So if you enjoyed this, if you found it valuable, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment, and why not subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow.